Have you realized that your career is actually a 40-year voyage? And if you're like me, well, you're probably only halfway through it. How then can you make the rest of your journey even more meaningful? We all change over time. What was important to us 10 years ago, like maybe money, job titles, may not be our top priority today. In fact, would what we enjoy today be of any value to us 10 years from now? So, are we chasing our current dreams at the expense of future goals? We need to review our past, reflect upon our present, and then create the future we want. We need to examine how things like financial security, career satisfaction, personal relationships factor into our life and how it should drive our career strategy.
So, instead of blindly putting in the hours of hard work every day, come, find out how you can achieve lasting career success and learn how to live a meaningful life through your career. Click the link to find out now.
Good morning, Singapore. Good morning, everyone on LinkedIn. And if wherever you're tuning in, good morning to you. Hi, my name is Adrian, and I'm the CEO and founder of Career Agility International. And as usual, on every Friday morning, I have Yen with me, who's our co-founder and super coach. Yen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm just happy it's a Friday. I am so happy it's a Friday.
Yes, my mostest favoriteest day of the week. And I love Fridays because we get to do all these wonderful things on a Friday morning with all our viewers, and we get to answer questions, and we get to share our thoughts and experiences, and also because it's the weekend that's coming.
The weekend is upon us. Any plans
Yes.
for the weekend, Adrian, besides napping and sleeping?
We actually got a lot of prep work to do because we have quite a number of corporate clients coming up next week where we have to do a lot of work. So a working weekend, but I love what we do.
That's so sad.
And I know, but I love what we do, and it's and a lot of this content we are actually creating is going into our next book. And talking about books, if you haven't already gotten your copy of The Great Career Paradox, it's available at all good bookshops, which basically means Kinokuniya and Times. Or alternatively, you can log on to our website at the one below here, careerparadox.com, and get your copy here. And if you get it from our website, you're gonna have autographed copies. So woohoo! Okay. Anyway, enough.
And you can also go to Amazon. Amazon, I think the Singapore Amazon, to get the hard copy, and you can go to Amazon.com to get the Kindle version.
Yes, that's right. I know it's complicated, but don't ask us. Ask Mr. Penguin. So
yes.
This week's topic is kind of interesting because we are, the season for performance appraisal is upon us, and a lot of clients of ours are asking us, how do we handle the performance appraisal? How do we, what do we talk about, and how do we handle those discussions, right, Yen?
I think it was I think it's the performance review seasons just finished. So people are now gearing up for next year. They want to accelerate their careers. They're all thinking, can I maximize bonuses? And what else can I do to get that raise? It's always going to be about that because inflation is also upon us, and we'd like to figure out how to maximize our increments for next year, right? So that's why we're doing this topic today.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's all about promotions and how do I get that promotion. So instead of talking about how to get a promotion, today we are going to talk about what are some of the ways that people unknowingly ruin their promotional prospects. And a lot of this information we've gotten from not just from our experience as very, very seasoned. I know you hate the word, but very, very seasoned with pepper and
very
salt.
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper and paprika. okay, as career coaches, but we've all been in the corporate world before, and we've seen it happen, and we've had lots of conversations with senior business leaders, and these are some of the opinions they shared with us. So please,
Yeah,
if you have
it's just
any,
really it's about blind spots, isn't it?
yeah, it is, and if you have any interesting other ideas to share, please just jump in and drop in the comment box. Drop a like, drop a thumbs
Yeah,
up, and if you have any other questions, seriously, just drop it in. And what we are saying today is about how do we ruin our promotional prospects accidentally or unknowingly. But before we
yeah,
begin, we want to just share with you the headline news for the headline news for today. We're going to talk about a brief one. It's about the layoffs.
yeah. It's bad.
It's bad. Oh man, everyone's all getting laid off. Unfortunately, it seems to be this time centered around the technology sector.
Hmm. But see, it's not about trends. I'm very skeptical when it comes to, oh, the tech sector is getting hit, or, people make such sweeping comments. I
Yeah.
feel like it is just a natural activity that happens in the corporate world when organizations aren't doing well. So just because it happens to be two of the largest tech giants, and I'm sure all the other organizations, regardless of what industry they're in, are also quietly restructuring in order to be
Hmm.
more competitive. And I think
Yeah.
that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I think this is so big, you can't hide it under the carpet.
It's yeah, it's true, and because of the scale. But to be honest, apparently in Facebook, it's in Singapore, like what it says, only it's not only, but comparatively, it's not 11,000 but 50 jobs. It's still a painful cut for those 50 and their family members, but it's still it's painful enough. But the whole idea is that the scale and the scope is there. There are other companies I hear of in the pipeline that are also looking at downsizing. So if you're in those companies where you may not feel so safe in your or secure in your role, please come talk to us.
Yeah,
info@careeragility.org. I think it's one of our favorite sayings is it's better to fix a roof when it's not raining. So just get ready.
exactly. I think the biggest takeaway here is do not ever be complacent, ever.
Mm.
Sometimes we're very comfortable with the status quo and we think that things are going to be perfect. Enjoy it while it lasts. But I would like for our listeners and our viewers to at least at the back of the mind think, okay, so what's next?
Mhm.
What's going to happen? Do I see anything that's coming? Is there a train wreck 6 months down the road? What are just have a future
Yeah,
headlights. Turn on
yeah.
your headlights just a little bit and have some conversations around potential
You know,
upheaval, disruptions. It doesn't stop. Do not stay still, because
let me
that's
let me
just
share with you. Let me share with our viewers. I absolutely agree with you. Let me share with our viewers an interesting story. Hashtag true story. So we had this. I once had this client individual I met, and he was a finance director for a company, and for the past this was way back in the past, about 5-6 years ago. For the past 3 months, his company had been retrenching his department, his staff. So he was attending all these meetings and telling people, sorry, today's your last day. This notification meetings, right? And his team whittled down from 22 to about 4. Okay.
mm,
And the whole industry was retrenching at the time. Just pretty tough times back in 2015. And one Monday morning, he came in and he was called into the CEO's room, and the CEO told him, "Look, now that all the retrenchments are wrapping up, you no longer have a role here." And he was in a state of shock. What? You're
mm.
retrenching me? Seriously? And I was called in to coach him on the day itself. And he basically was in a state of shock. And I was thinking, didn't you read the signs? Your whole department has been whittled down from 22 to about 4. And are you still needed? So to me, I couldn't figure out at the time why he didn't see it. But sometimes I don't know. Do you think it could be denial?
It's denial, it's complacency, or he fell hook, line, and sinker for the boss's con. Right? Bosses are saying, no, don't worry, you can be
No,
the
job is safe.
executioner this time. I will
Yeah.
look after you. And I think alliances and trust sometimes can be questioned. You wonder, right? Because if it's every man for himself, then the boss is going to look after himself first. So I mean, I don't know because I never met this client of yours.
Yeah.
But like you said, the biggest takeaway here is never be complacent. Just because
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
is growing, oh, the industry is secure, the industry is growing. But I also want to highlight, right, that in terms of these job cuts, my question is: are these tech jobs or just
Jobs in
jobs
tech.
in the tech industry?
Yeah,
So
that's
it
right.
could be a customer service, it could be an administrative role, it could be a finance role, it could be a compliance role, it could be a marketing role, but it may not necessarily be a tech role.
Yeah.
I think they're quite diverse in terms of the layoffs, in terms of the roles that have been made redundant.
Mhm.
I think so. Again, we have to look after ourselves. We have to manage our own careers. And I
Yeah.
know I sound like I'm nagging, but sometimes our greatest enemy is really complacency.
Yeah. And if you are in a situation where you're feeling a tad nervous over what's happening in the tech sector or even in your sector or in your role, please come in and talk to us, okay? Because there are things that you can do today that could make it less painful and make your experience less traumatic if and when
Your
it happens.
landing and your
And you know
landing
what?
will be smoother. You
And
can
if
jump
it
from branch
doesn't
to branch.
and if it doesn't, it's not like a monkey. If you even if you don't get a notification or you don't get retrenched or laid off, having laid the groundwork just opens you up to even more opportunities, better opportunities out there. So why not,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. So come talk to us.
absolutely. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're just very practical about it. Sometimes the brown stuff will hit the fan. If you have an umbrella or a raincoat,
Splat,
you
splat,
get
splat, splat,
some
splat.
level.
No, no, when you say brows are hitting the fan, I have this image of, remember the video clips you're seeing online about the Roomba, the remote vacuum cleaner,
Yes, the
going
ones
over
that run
going over
over
dog poop
the
in the house,
dog
and
poop.
it's like
Yes,
chocolate floor.
splatters
Oh
everywhere.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I hope that never happens to me and my dog. But anyway,
How many
otherwise,
Roombas do you have? But you have
I
one
have
of those, don't you?
I have one of each, one Roomba and one dog, and I'm hoping they don't meet. So I hope their lives do not intersect. So it's okay.
That's funny.
So anyway, today we're going to talk about. Thanks for joining us once again. If you just joined us, my name is Adrian. I'm the CEO and founder of Career Agility International, and Yen is my co-founder and executive director.
Good
Yen's
morning,
also called
everyone.
Yen's also called the Super Coach because she's actually Singapore's most experienced career coach and career strategist with regards to number of years, number of experience, and a depth. And Yen handles mostly, largely senior level folks. So if you are feeling a bit insecure or feeling a bit, unsettled, just give us a call and drop us an email at info@careeragility.org. And today we're gonna talk about how to ruin your promotion in 5 easy steps.
Easy, just park in the boss's car park lot. Shut the
Yes,
shut the lift on him. Steal his lunch.
many of our many are still the food. His spit in his food. That's in the fridge, labeled under his name. Maybe you poop in it. Anyway,
No.
there are ways that you can ruin your promotions. Okay, those are the obvious stupid ways of definitely what I would call having a death wish. Okay,
Career
but
limiting moves.
yeah, those are deliberate stuff that you don't want to do.
Yeah,
But
don't
and
fight with
yet,
your boss in front of everybody.
yeah, don't correct the boss. Boss, you're wrong. Okay. Yeah. So those,
Yeah,
those are
so
quite
yeah,
complex to
today
manage.
we're gonna let's come back. I'm sorry for digressing, but today we're gonna talk about things that might be inadvertent, that might be like blind spots that you're not aware of. So
Yeah.
number one, okay,
What's number one, Ian?
well,
Being unreliable. Okay.
being inconsistent.
Inconsistent performance is terrible. Okay. Unless you're consistently bad and terrible at your job, then being inconsistent, I guess, helps because once in a while you win. But but
Okay, okay.
if you're consistent inconsistent, meaning you 2 out of 3 times or 1 out of 4 times, you get a job done, people are not going to trust you to work. So if you want to get promoted, inconsistent performance is a killer. For instance, my favorite line is, would you drive in a car whose brakes work most of the time?
Yeah, that
Okay,
would be a problem, wouldn't it?
Yeah, what do you mean most of the time? Goodness, I need a car that when I put the input, the output is there regularly, consistently. You see. So if you're inconsistent in your performance, okay, it does cast a doubt over whether or not I can entrust you with
Mm.
a bigger role or more responsibilities.
I feel like with regard to consistency, we're not saying that you have to exceed or meet all your targets all the time, every single time, because sometimes that's impossible. And sometimes things do not always work out. When we talk about performance here, we're talking about ensuring that your bosses are not caught unaware. So if there's something that's going to be bad, there's going to be bad news, be upfront about it so that they're ready to ring fence and flank the positioning so that the fallout isn't as bad. So performance is a given for I think, but everyone knows this. Performance is a given if you want to get promoted. Okay, but
Yes.
consistency and making sure your bosses are kept abreast of anything that might be good as well as anything that might be bad. Because the last thing you
Yeah.
want to do is to have the boss go be confronted with something and then your boss doesn't know what to say.
So
That's one of the worst things to do.
so yeah, let me ask you a question then. Okay, is it better to be? Do you think it's better to be erratically successful, off the chart successful, and then mediocre, successful, mediocre? Or do you think it's better to be consistently slightly above average or above average in your
The
performance?
consistency is important. If we take the analogy of any sports team, you
Hmm.
don't want the maverick. You don't want the maverick with the temper tantrum in any sports team.
No matter how good it is.
Even if he has the most remarkable, brilliant scoring ability, you
Hmm.
don't necessarily, because you need to manage, because you want to be able to pull the team together and everyone works more effectively when everyone rows in the same direction. Can
Hmm.
you imagine, right? You want to have a maverick who is occasionally good, and not just good, brilliant. But
Occasionally
then when
spectacular.
but when things are bad, it's the depths of I don't know, the worst abyss. So I don't think that is healthy for any manager. I would get a heart attack every time. It's like a roller coaster. So
Actually,
no, I would not promote such a person.
even if you think about it, even my kids, if they were in school, if their grades are like one moment they're getting like 99, this moment they're getting like 40, next 99, 40, I'll be very worried. I'd rather them just
No,
get
no, no. That
consistently.
confirms cheating. Something's wrong. That's
I,
successful
I
cheating or
think so.
unsuccessful cheating.
I think so. I think
Uh,
so.
but with regard to
Which is interesting,
performance,
which is interesting. So that could be a thought that which a manager might have. Oh, this guy was just lucky,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
and
right.
a
So it
lot
was
of
not. It's
managers,
not erratic.
a
Yeah.
lot of managers can see, because sometimes it's a territory that you manage, and sometimes you can tell when it's a deal that or a product or a project you're managing, who the MVP is. Maybe not
Hmm.
you. People
Yeah.
have eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right. The bosses could just say, "Yeah, it's luck." The last two quarters you did well, and then these 2 quarters you did badly. Then next quarter go up and down. It the if you're not consistent, they're gonna attribute it to luck and not effort.
One
So
hit wonder.
one hit wonder, right? Yeah. So you just be consistent, and keep your word. Because if you don't keep your word, basically you're telling people don't trust me. If I promise you this, and I promise you that you get a promotion, and then I don't keep it, the next time around, any promises I make, it's just gonna be not taken seriously.
Yeah, and of course, you also, if you're not doing the things you say you should be doing. So if you impose, it's a little bit like do what I tell you, but don't do what I do. So you have
Yeah,
to walk the talk all the time, be consistent. I think
that's
that all fits
very important.
under, yeah, it fits all under the whole
Yeah.
consistency bit.
And I know your favorite don't walk the talk example. You all are. I don't like office politics in the room in my department. Don't play office politics.
Yeah. So as a
And then
story to all our listeners, we,
you want
we
to tell
had
them
we
that?
had a leader. We had a leader one time from a long time ago. I won't say where. And you know how they travel to all the different countries to visit, and then there was a town hall, and the leader says, "Okay, this is my values, and I do not believe in politics. I think they're very unhealthy. So all of you, you're not allowed to play politics." The fact that he even brought it up indicates that it is top of mind, indicates that he is the biggest political animal in the room. He just doesn't like other people, I guess, politicking
You,
against him.
yeah, I know, overthrowing him in the Game of Thrones. So, yeah, just remember, being unreliable, or worse still, being even if you're not unreliable, but being seen to be unreliable, it's a killer as well. And of course, it's one of our pet peeves. People who act too smart, people who appear very arrogant, and
Yeah.
even if you achieve a lot of you're a superstar, walking around, strutting around like, hey, it's all me, when people know that it's not all you, because very rarely our achievements all just you. It's a team effort, taking credit from everyone, appearing arrogant, being a know-it-all. It's gonna work against you, right?
The thing about this, right, is we're not saying you shouldn't take pride in your work. You absolutely should. And if I think for a lot of our clients, I feel like they're too modest. So there's a very fine balance between
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
credit when it's well deserved, or being this snarky, I guess. There's a very faint arrogance that people don't like as in leaders. So if you appear a little bit too, I guess, cocky, then your leaders are going to question whether or not the people will follow you. And so
Yes.
if they're not sure if they should be promoting someone like that, because then that person's going to not have any buy-in from the rest of the team. He's going to
Yeah.
have very little influence because everyone
Yeah.
goes, oh, he's just all show and tell. There's no
Yeah.
substance. And so
Yeah.
that's unhealthy as well.
Yeah, that's true. And worse still, no, if you go around acting like a know-it-all, acting like your God's gift to the whole company or the whole industry, what's going to happen is that your colleagues are not going to look too kindly upon you, and things happen. So you got to be very mindful and very careful, because if you're acting too smart, and sometimes it's impression management. Because I've been told before, okay, and I'm still being told sometimes, Adrian, you're acting too smart, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, all the time by you. So anyway, but it's okay if you know how to push and you pull. But if the
Yeah.
predominant description of you when you're not in the room is, well, the guys are know-it-all, okay. Then people don't want to work with you. Then
Yeah.
that is one of the basis of being unpromotable
Yeah.
if you're not
Yeah.
a team player.
Yeah, I think what you've just described is a caricature. It's a very extreme stereotype.
Hmm.
What we're trying to say here is that a lot of us sometimes we vibe that superiority, and the moment you vibe superiority, people will, it's a very it's a subconscious thing. It's just people just
Hmm.
don't gravitate towards you. They'll just
Yeah.
repel a little bit. So again, it's not always the way Adrian describes. I don't see too many 40-year-olds strutting around like a peacock, right?
Oh, I have
Oh,
seen, and
really?
you've been in the
Okay.
headhunting industry as long as I have in the senior level one. Man, these people, they really act as though
Or
they are
maybe it's
like
just to you because
superstars.
they're talking to you directly, so they have to show a bit. They have to
I
show
don't
off a
know.
little bit.
I don't know. But it's in some very ego driven. Maybe our listeners and viewers now, if whether you agree with me, if you've seen people who are like arrogant know-it-alls in your company or in your past companies, then maybe you can drop it into the chat box and let us, and whether you agree with me or whether you think that yeah, I'm oversimplifying it. But in certain ego-driven industries like lawyers, like headhunters, yeah, you tend to see people who are a bit more arrogant, like Doctor Strange in no, before he became Doctor Strange. Yeah, that type of arrogance. So
Superiority, yeah.
superiority. Maybe you are good, okay, but so no, what we are telling you is, if you want to get the promotion, okay, these are behaviors to avoid. But how do you avoid acting too smart? Okay, we do conduct trainings on this with our career mastery program, which is a 6-month program, which we help aspiring business leaders and individuals who want to take the next step in their career upwards. Okay, they want to accelerate their career. We've already had 3 batches, very successful batches that we've had at Career Agility. So if you're interested in promoting, getting a promotion, or if you're interested in furthering your career, instead of investing in an MBA, which may or may not further your career by giving you the street smarts, okay, come to us, talk to us. We have a career mastery program. Just drop us an email at info@careeragility.org, and we'll be happy to share with you fantastic case studies of how people who've come through our programs and how their careers have brightened up and improved tremendously. So come talk to us.
I just want to say that not acting too smart does not equate to dumbing down. Please
No,
do
don't
not.
don't act, don't act,
No, okay.
don't act. Yeah, don't dumb yourself down. Yeah, that's true.
Do not dumb down. And I was just thinking about it, right? Because we were talking about how, yeah, I mean, acting too smart is not going to get you the promotion. But no, you have to be smart about things, and you have to be, I guess, sophisticated
You have to
about
be
how
smart, lah,
you,
but not act
yeah,
too
be,
smart. It's a balance. It's finesse. There's a certain
right?
line.
The equation is not an equation. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
So,
there's no. It's a fine line. It's a fine line.
yeah, and then not being arrogant does not mean that you should be overly modest and then end up becoming a doormat either.
True.
So just please be mindful that what we're saying here is not to be the other side, to be a complete opposite.
True. Either end. And of course, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make in terms of ruining your promotion is some people think that if I take on the big projects, really high profile projects, I will get noticed and get promoted. Yes, it could be true, but if you bite off more than you can chew and you overstretch, ouch, you bite off more than you can chew, you're not. It's tricky. So when I was in Shell, we had this very interesting project which they wanted to launch, and it was really ambitious. And a lot of the top guys, the top young guys, okay, wanted to make a name for themselves, and they put their hand up and they said, "I want to do it now. Let me do it." No, but I was looking at it and I said, my boss asked me, "Do you want to do it?" And I looked at it and I go, no, because I think this particular project is not going to get much traction. Okay, and in the end, it didn't. And those people who put their hand up, they all ended up failing spectacularly, and ultimately,
Ouch.
one by one, they all left the company. So you have to be very strategic in taking on stretch projects, because if you overstretch, then ouch, you might hurt yourself.
Yeah, I think with stretch projects, if it is aligned to your career direction, definitely. We're not saying here not to take
Don't
any
do stretch
risks, because
projects. Yeah, we're not saying to do
if
that.
you if you don't grow, if you don't try, get out of your comfort zone, you might not grow. I'm seeing the opposite with a lot of the other ladies that I coach, who are female leaders, who sometimes feel like they need to be 150% secure or skilled up before they take on any new task or assignment. That's not the truth either. I think sometimes we have to like dig a little bit deeper as to what are the foundations that you can leverage on, and who are the people that you can groom to help you build a team to make sure that the project is successful, and then to be strategic about executing that said project. So again, everything we're describing in these slides seem fairly straightforward, very simple. But again,
It's
you
very
you
nuanced.
absolutely should
Yeah.
take on more
Yes.
growth projects.
Yeah.
And the way your story went, Adrian, is like, oh, I saw it that it wasn't going to succeed. But what if it did? Then the rest of the five guys would have left you in the dust.
Yeah.
Perhaps they didn't execute it well, or maybe they didn't
But
find
you
the
know what?
proper
The way I figured it, the
sponsors.
way I figured it was, there'll be other projects coming along.
Sure,
So
sure.
pick and
And
choose, pick
and
and choose
another
battles.
another big point about that is not saying no to your boss too many times.
That's true. That's true.
You cannot say no to your boss too many times before you
No.
become a non candidate. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Doctor No. So it's about being strategic. Okay, it's okay to be ambitious, but sometimes if you do bite off more than you can chew, maybe you're doing one project and then another one comes up, and you want to take the other one on, and then instead of impressing them, okay, the decision makers,
Yeah.
you end up falling and failing at two or three. So
Yeah.
just be mindful not to overstretch, because that can really ruin your promotional prospects.
That's right.
And of course, what is one of the key things? Gossiping. Have you ever had experience of people gossiping in your office? Yeah.
The gossip is always, it's a given, because when we talk about something during lunch, or we share what we observed, or we share an opinion about something, it's bonding with the people that we do talk to.
That's
It's not
true.
necessarily malicious.
Yeah.
It's an observation. And so I don't know. You can't stop people from talking. But remember that leader who prevented everyone in the office from speaking in dialect?
Yeah, or any other language that he does not understand, which is basically English because he's British. It's just poor leadership where you're just paranoid and you're not being very secure. But
Yeah.
gossiping is sometimes you don't intentionally gossip. Sometimes it's like, you're at a water cooler, you're having a drink, and then a colleague comes up and asks you, so what do you think of this new
What did you
policy?
think?
What do you think of this new policy? What do you think? How do you think the boss's performance yesterday at the presentation went? And then you go like, here I've seen better, you know. Or there was a part where he shouldn't have said about that. Suddenly he goes back, it circles back to the boss,
Yeah.
Chinese whispers, right? Oh, I heard Adrian say that the big boss, blah 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 blah, and then it's like, but I didn't say that. So
That's malicious. That's very
that's malicious.
malicious. So that's
But sometimes it's not
putting
malicious.
words in other people's mouth.
But sometimes it's not malicious. It just goes on. It takes a life on its own.
Yeah,
So
but it's something you cannot control.
yeah. So what my mama always said, if you have nothing nice to say, shut up. Don't say anything at all. Just it was good. It was fine, fair. Just sit down and just shut up, shut up, shut up. Don't say anything.
Yeah,
It could be dangerous.
very
And
dangerous.
it's you gotta be mindful. Okay.
Yeah.
Loose lips sink ships. So
There's the thing
uh,
about such grapevine conversations is also I hear from a lot of our clients who refuse to engage. They refuse to even be involved in the grapevine, and that could also be detrimental sometimes because you want to actually listen in on what people are
that's
saying,
true, right? That's true.
and sometimes what they're not saying, and to be in the know.
Yeah.
Then you'll never be caught unaware when restructuring happens because there's no
Yeah.
smoke without fire. Someone's going to find out something, or
Yeah.
more observant colleagues are going to say, how is everyone now all sneaking into the rooms, and all the rooms are booked on this day and the management is not available, so if you're
Too
good
fishy.
friends
Too
with the
fishy. Yeah.
administrator and the people who book the rooms, then maybe you can, I don't, again, I'm going to extremes, the clients who say, I don't want to go for drinks, I don't want to go out. If you don't go for the drinks, who do you think they'll talk about?
Yeah.
They'll
That's
talk
true.
about the one who's not there.
That's
And you
true.
don't want to be the subject of gossip because, like Adrian
That
says,
is true.
it takes a life of its own. So you should get involved. You should
Yeah, sure.
should attend. You should turn up, and just listen
Yeah, that is
so
true.
that you can manage the PR.
No, that is so true, and I've learned it the hard way before. When you're not in the room, they're talking about you, good or bad. So you got to be careful, especially when drinks are involved. And talking about gossiping, and talking about drinks. No, this happened during my BMT, my army days. I did not attend one of the, and this was a bunch of strangers and everything. I did not attend one of the first drinking sessions they had because I didn't drink. And whoa, my other friend did, and they saying, Adrian, they were talking about you, man. They were blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, shucks. So, but the point is this also: if you're out for drinks with your colleagues and your friends, especially after you've had the 8th shot of tequila, okay. Yeah, I think basically whatever you say comes out of your mouth, you got to be careful as well. Even though by the 8th shot, you may not have control over what's coming out of your mouth, be it words or food. Okay, you have to be mindful that when you're inebriated, you might end up saying something you might regret because you might be saying something honest and truthful for a change in front of everyone that you're trying to keep your opinions, good opinions.
The alcohol removes all your filters.
Yeah, Lee Iacocca, the old CEO of Chrysler, he once said, when one goes down, all comes out. So you got to be
Oh
careful.
dear.
Yeah, when one goes down, all comes out. So it's a great interview technique, actually, if you think about it. Come, let's go get you drunk, and we're gonna ask you all the
Yes.
questions. You're gonna be honest about it.
I think it's illegal now for you to do that,
What interview? Informal,
right?
informal, informal.
To
So I don't know. I've never had an interview which was a get you pissed drunk and
No, I don't think that happens anymore.
it doesn't happen anymore. But do be mindful if you're out drinking with your colleagues and everything, and if you have too much now, and then you say, you know what, I really think about the boss. Okay, and then it's like, here he goes, here he comes, bye. Okay, so just be
Yeah.
mindful about it. So as you can see, getting promoted is not it's on many people's minds, and oftentimes it can get tricky. It's a fine balance between skill, performance, as well as street smarts and just being savvy. And that's where it gets difficult, because even if you do get an MBA, or you read lots of books, a lot of it is just book knowledge, book smarts. Our clients who come to us for our career mastery program, they get to experience a lot of real life stories like this. Okay, not just from us, but also from the other participants who are usually quite senior themselves. So there's a lot of group sharing, a lot of peer learning, and it's very useful in terms of your own personal and private development. So whatever it is, it's well worth the investment. And instead of looking at an MBA, which could cost you in excess of $100,000 for a good one, even think about investing in yourself, because the long-term ROI is definitely there, right?
And I just wanted to highlight a comment in the chat box about bosses.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a boss who holds you back from being promoted or moving
Mm.
on or progressing, there is a lot more going on. Sometimes you're so good you become indispensable. Sometimes it's for some other reason, for his own ego or whatever. And as you rightly pointed out, you should change your boss, not your work ethic. Sometimes that's a little bit hard. So during our career mastery program, we talk about all the strategies of managing up effectively, understanding the patterns and the agendas in order for you to have better strategies to create that value in order to get the promotion, regardless of what type of boss you have. So that's my response to the statement, to the comment in the chat box.
Yeah. So you see, and one of the biggest things that's holding you back as well, talking about being held back, is not getting help when help is readily available. Why go on this career journey alone? There are people who are ready to help you. You could be your bosses, could be your mentors, but sometimes your bosses have their own hidden agenda. Basically, they may not want to let you go, and why should they if you're a top performer and you're making them look good? So they may be holding you back. So come talk to people who are neutral, third party. Come talk to the experts like us, because we have helped a lot of people, and we continue to be successful in helping others become successful.
This is a program intended for those who are accelerating in their career, currently gainfully employed, looking to grow within their own role or within their industry. This is not a job search program.
It's not a job search.
So
It's
no,
not a job
it's not.
hunting. No, there's no
No,
CV writing.
yeah,
This is basically about you
no.
getting.
It's
And we
all
talk about really
strategy, smarts.
Yeah, we talk about really interesting topics, like the dirty truths about promotions. How do people get
It's not,
promoted?
truth
What
is not
does
dirty.
But it's
Truth is
dirty. It's
pure.
just something. Not always. Uh, Back to differ, but it's the untarnished truth
Yes.
that you need to know, that what's holding you back. Okay. And a lot of myths, we talk about how to be happy at work, what are the strategies for coping, because your career is a 40-year journey, and you need to approach it with a certain mindset of an elite athlete. Okay, how do you manage? How do you train? How do you handle adversity? And I like this topic because it's about choosing to be happy at work, not how to be happy at work, because it's a choice, and choice is painful most of the time.
It's an attitude. It's an attitude. And if you decide that it's going to be a bad day, it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah. And yeah, I hate choice. It's like there's so much. You go to a gelato bar and you see so many nice flavors, but you can only take one, and the most two flavors, and it's like, but I want everything, but you can't choose. There's a certain optimization involved, right?
Yes.
So when we talk about projecting your sphere of influence, because a lot of times the decision makers to decide who to promote is not your boss. They're all over the place. How do you identify these areas, these sources of influence, and how do you extend your influence over them as well? So we can talk about that. Talk about building executive presence and managing terrible bosses. That's one of Yen's favorite topics, and peers as well. So we can talk about that. and we want to also talk about getting that raise you deserve. How do you approach your bosses for a raise, and how do you improve? So these are some of the really interesting topics, and the one that we've recently developed is how do you build your career currencies? Okay, meaning that how do you, because if you're in an office setting, you're basically having to trade all the time, trade favors, to trade information, to trade knowledge. How do you build your currency? How do you become wealthy in the office setting, in the sense that I have a wealth of knowledge, I have a wealth of trust, I have a wealth of a lot of other elements. We have our own model, which we'll share with you. And the moment you learn to look at these attributes as currencies, okay, you will soon realize how effective and powerful you can be in the office. So uh, come talk to us. It's a 6 month
Yeah.
program, very intensive, but these are evening sessions. Okay, intensive in the sense that it's very engaging, but it's not in time intensive. So come talk to us. Lots of fun stuff. And
The
and
the
we've
the the, the
and we've run
program
a
the program really helps with having that community of support.
Mhm.
What we're trying to say here is that a lot of the wisdom that you have, sometimes you just need a different point of view. And sometimes you just need someone and a group, a community to support. And the career mastery programs provide that because it's small groups and everyone works to support each other. And we do a lot of that. The community is the one that's the most powerful when it
Oh
comes
yes,
to
that's right.
the career mastery program. And that's my opinion. It's not just like nagging. We don't
Not
just
just
nag.
Yan and me. Yeah, it's not that. And the cool thing about it is, once you come through our program, this is intake number 4. There are also business leaders in intake number 1, 2, and 3 that you will be alumni with as well. So it just only gets more powerful down the road. So
Yep.
come talk to us. info@careeragility.org, and we are always happy to have that discussion. So come talk to us. So
Why are you going backwards?
because I want to show this topic. These are really interesting topics,
Yeah.
aren't they? I really wish someone taught me this when I was fresh out of school, or maybe when I was in my mid-30s. I would have had so much
Yeah.
easier journey.
Yeah. Having someone tell you the whole truth, right? Because you
Yeah,
don't get that in the workplace. People don't they don't give you good feedback.
yeah.
I don't know.
And I hate to be terrible at this, but and sounding all arrogant
Really?
and stuff. No, I don't. Actually, I actually do. Uh, but you can MBA professors, lecturers, and everything. Yeah, they can teach you the textbook knowledge, but how many of these people actually would be able to give you the unvarnished truth about things like this? Because a lot of times they are very academic, and which has its benefits and everything lah. But sometimes you want to balance out the academic with the real world market savviness. So come talk to us. We're always happy to have a discussion with you. Okay, come talk. Once again, if you want to reach us by WhatsApp, it's 88380557. I repeat, 88380557. And otherwise, you can just connect with me on LinkedIn, and just send me a message. I'm happy to get our team to respond.
Yep.
So
Happy weekend.
once again, I'm doing a free plug for the book. Okay, so how do I become? Lots of information. Some of the information which we spoke about today is actually in the chapter on accelerating your career. So if you want to, just go down to Amazon.com or Amazon.sg and order your physical book or the ebook today, and have a good read. You will probably read the book maybe in about 2 afternoons, because it's that easy to read.
I'm just
So
looking forward to the weekend. Are you done, Adrian?
I'm done. And once again, I want to wish everyone Merry Christmas. Because do you realize that? Oh, you weren't in town this morning. At Raffles Place, they put up a huge Merry Christmas decoration and scaffolding and everything up
I'll
already.
see it next week.
They're all getting ready to party in town. I think this will be a great one this year, because the COVID restrictions and everything are all up. So
Mm.
yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. So I'm expecting to see large crowds in the malls this weekend, which means that I'm not
Uh,
going to the malls this weekend. So I'll be
anyway,
at home reading a book. So have a great
take care,
weekend, everyone,
everyone.
and take care and reach out to us if you need anything. Okay, have a great one. Take care. Bye.